Thanks everyone for joining us. This is our last session of our higher education career support groups, and we're so excited to have our final guest speaker, Nicole, from the Welcome Center. After returning to her birthplace of Philadelphia, years after living in Spain and other US cities, Nicole Marcotte opened two businesses in a commercial corridor, started a family, and later worked supporting Spanish-speaking immigrant school district families. And in her current role at the Welcoming Center as entrepreneurship program manager, Nicole supports immigrant entrepreneurs in the city to either start or grow their business. And since the start of the pandemic, Nicole has been working along with a group of Latino merchants in South Philadelphia to form a mutual support group to achieve shared goals. And thanks so much for joining us, Nicole, and feel free to start whenever you're ready.
Good morning. Hello to everybody. Thank you for the introduction, Bridget. If it's okay, I will share my screen now to go through a very short presentation of the small business program at the Welcoming Center. Okay, so again, my name is Nicole. I work at the Welcoming Center in the small business program. The Welcoming Center is a nonprofit that has been in the city of Philadelphia for 18 years. And we support immigrants with different programs. There's workforce, there's ESL classes, there's the international professional programs. But today we're going to speak of the small business program where we support immigrants to either open their business or if they have one business already in Philadelphia, to grow it. In this picture right here, you see Fatima Fat. She is from Dubai and she is a craft maker. So all the things you see around her are made by her, and we supported her with opening her business, but also finding places in our city of Philadelphia to sell her arts and crafts. Oops. Okay. We have a training that is 12 weeks long and it's free. And in this training, we help you create a business plan. The business plan, it's sort of like a map for your business. So you would look at the market, who is going to buy your product. You would look at who your customers might be, who your competition is, and different ways of marketing your product in the traditional way, like perhaps flyers, but also online via social media platforms and websites. You will also learn about credit and financing, how to plan for that in your business, and management and operations. So would you hire people? What time of the day will you be open? How many days a week? Who will be your suppliers? Things of that nature. So this is a free program for all immigrants in the city of Philadelphia who are thinking of opening their business in the city. And to enroll, to become part of our program, we need two things from you. We need for you to have a solid business idea, something that you have been thinking for a while, something that you're passionate about, and also number two, that you have experience in that field. So for example, if you would like to open a shoe store, maybe it will be very good that you have worked at a shoe store, or that maybe in your country back home, you had a shoe store. Or if you already have a business in the city of Philadelphia, we can perhaps help you get more customers, open up your market. The classes before the pandemic were always in person. And sometimes they are at the Welcoming Center at our offices, which they are very close to Nationality Service Center in Center City, but sometimes we go to other neighborhoods to give the classes. So this is what an in-person class looks like. And of course, because of the pandemic, then we switched to online classes. We expect for the next session in the fall, in September or October, to be a hybrid. So some people might feel comfortable being in the classroom, and other people might feel more comfortable being at home, or it's better for their schedules. So we will see. So on the business training program, during the 12 weeks, we talk about business in general, but we also offer business technical assistance. And what that means is that we just focus on your business. So if you're thinking about the shoe store, we would look at what permits, what licenses do you need to operate, to open your business? What would be a good location for your business where there's not a lot of other shoe stores? And who will buy your shoes? So we would just focus on your particular business. Besides the training program, we also support groups of merchants, of business owners that share a product or an industry. So for example, we have a group, it's mainly all women, that it's called Global Craft Market. So for example, here we have Silvia, Sulma, Fatima, Tatiana, and Claudia. They are all from different countries, and they all either make things by hand, like Fatima, and then sells them to the public, or for example, Silvia imports the Panama hats from her country, Bolivia. Claudia is from Mexico, and her family makes things in Mexico, and she sells them here in Philadelphia. This group of young ladies, they are from Southeast by Southeast in South Philadelphia, and they are a collective. So they make things together, and then we take them to market to sell. And this is another picture of Sylvia selling her Panama hats at Cherry Street Pier. So when we go sell with the craft makers, we go to public spaces like Cherry Street Pier, the Christmas Village, which is in City Hall and Love Park. This picture here is a stand at the Reading Terminal Market, right around the corner from NSC. So we go to different places to sell. This is another collective of merchants that all have restaurants in South Philadelphia. So during the pandemic, we didn't do the training during the pandemic. We focused on supporting existing businesses, especially restaurants, because they were very impacted by customers not being able to go into their businesses, and they needed support with grant applications. So this is another group that we have supported. So if you're interested in finding out more information about the small business program, you can fill out this form. I'll just take 1 second to show you what that form looks like. You have to fill the fields that have the little red dot next to it. So it's simple things about contact information, so we can get in touch with you. And then you will see, as we mentioned before, that you will have to write a few sentences about what is your business idea, okay? And also you will have to write, what have you done so far for your business? And anything counts. If you have a desire, if you want to sell candles, for example, we want to know if you know how to make the candles, and if you have given them to your friends and your family and have listened to their feedback on the candles. So any experience counts. Don't think that it's something very professional. Every experience counts. Okay. So you would fill out this form, and then we get your information. And if you have difficulties filling out the form, you can email me at this email address, N for Nicole, and my last name, Marcote, at welcomingcenter.org. And we can schedule a time to be on the phone together, and we can fill out the form together. And the next step would be to have an interview with us so we get to know you, your business idea, it could be a product or a service, and talk about what the next steps are for joining the class during this fall. And I'm not sure if we have perhaps some questions from either Nationality Service Center staff or if there might be a participant interested in joining us.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you so much for your presentation. I do have a question. Do you have to be in a certain status to be in the small business program? Like you have to be a US citizen or anything like that?
Absolutely not. Actually, entrepreneurship, it's a very viable path for those that might be in this country without documents, because if you have an ITIN number, an identification tax ID, you can open a business, and with your ITIN number, you pay taxes. So it is not a barrier for opening a business in the city of Philadelphia.
Thank you so much.
So if we have a client who's interested in this, should we reach out directly to you, or who would be the best contact person?
Yes, currently it's only me at the small business program, so I will be your point of contact gladly. And you could either introduce us to your participants via email, copying me on that, and Marcote at Welcoming Center, and we can reach out. And also, since they are already with Nationality Service Center and they have, or they're beginning to earn your trust, we find it very important to perhaps in our first initial meeting that somebody that's supporting them at your organization is also present, because you might have background information that maybe they're not thinking of sharing, but we might find very valuable in guiding them towards their entrepreneurship journey. So we'll gladly, at the beginning, form a small support network with you.
Great, thank you so much.
Mhm.
I just had a quick question. Does the clients need to be fluent in English, or is there any type of like interpreters that are there?
So in the past, we've had an interpreter for Arabic, but it was on a volunteer basis. We don't know if she will be available and have the time to do that. But yes, we've had interpretation services before, and if it were to be, I'd say like a larger group of Spanish speakers, I could, just conduct the training in Spanish. But if we do have, small groups that feel more comfortable in their language, we'll be willing to support them somehow. However, we strongly encourage them to feel comfortable with us and try to do it in English, because eventually most of their customers are going to be English speakers, people that they're going to have to deal with at licenses and inspection. It's all sort of like an English environment. So in the past, we've had a program called English for Entrepreneurs, which basically goes over some of the words that you come about in the business world. And it gives you a chance to practice, for example, pretending that there's a customer in front of you and what would that dialogue be like. We don't have that program anymore, but we do have our ESL program. So if needed, we could have extra support in the class. and work in conjunction with our director of ESL, and give them that extra support. But it's also a chance to learn English.
That sounds great. I'm thinking of a client who she's learning English, but she speaks Spanish, but she's not as comfortable yet. So that sounds so great. I'm going to give her some information. But thank you so much. And I realized that I actually went to a couple of those global craft markets at the pier. I didn't know what it was at the time, but
Okay.
it was such a great experience. It was great. But thank you so much for this presentation.
Mhm. And because of the pandemic, we haven't been selling so much the global craft market, but that's why we're building an e-commerce platform. So those that join the global craft market will already have the opportunity to sell their items online. So that will be another benefit down the line.
Thank you, Nicole. I just have a couple more questions for you. I knew you mentioned you work with the program, teaches clients how to open up a business and particularly small business. Do you also walk through the steps of how to obtain a business license and how long it takes?
Yes, that is part of the technical assistance component of the program.
Okay.
So, for example, all businesses in the city of Philadelphia to operate, they need a commercial activity license, and they will need a tax ID. Because of the pandemic, all of these processes have been switched online, which makes it easier because we can sit down with the client and do all together instead of waiting for endless hours at license and inspections in the basement of a building. So yes, we do facilitate those permits and licenses. Absolutely.
And the program is free. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Does it cost anything?
Yes.
Training program? Okay.
No, all of the programs at the Welcoming Center are free of charge.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering my questions. I don't know if we have any more questions.
Nicole, I have just one question. As a part of the technical assistance training, does that also incorporate kind of the budgeting piece or the financial planning? I know sometimes our clients ask us, how much money do I have to save, and do I need an X amount before I can start one? Is that also part of the technical assistance?
Yes. So during the class, when everybody is together, we will learn about, for example, startup budgets. If you are just, beginning to think of opening a business, what monies are you going to need to make this come true? Also, as part of the business plan, there will be sales projections. So how many shoes do I have to sell each month in order to cover my rent, cover all of my overhead, right? So numbers are a very big important of business because they are the only ones that tell you the truth. Just because you have a business does not necessarily mean that you're making money, because money comes in and money goes out. So we want to make sure from the very beginning that you understand what it entails. And that's why we first start with looking at your personal budget, because everybody runs their own businesses. We all get money in and we all pay money out, right? So we first look at our personal financing situation and use that as a sort of a platform to think, okay, so what would the business look like? So yes, a very important piece of opening a business.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I know you'll have just a few more minutes before you have to go, but we are just so happy that you came and presented. That was an excellent presentation, and we are very excited to share this recording to our clients at NSC.
Great, absolutely, my pleasure. And if you ever want me to go to the office and talk to some of your clients in person, or English or Spanish, I'll be glad to do that too.
Thank you so much, Nicole. It was lovely to meet you.
Same here, everybody.